The Fargone Podcast, presented by This Is Coffee. Premium instant coffee meant to be enjoyed outside. Get yours at thisiscoffee.ca. Well, Reece, episode 2. We're doing it, man. Happy to actually have you in Chilliwack this time.
Yeah, for sure. It's good to be back in the hometown.
Yeah, exactly. I know you've been here longer than I have, so there you go. What brought you back into town?
Well, I got golf tournament that I'm being a part of there at Sandpiper for charity golf tournament with Chilliwack Ford. So that's good. Got to support the community and the sponsors and stuff. Keep everything rolling.
Keep them happy.
But it's good that when you're back home, gotta get all that stuff done and so you can be ready to roll when the season starts. But yeah, no, that's good. But it's good to be back home too, see how everything's going. I haven't spent much time here this year, but just too busy out at the ranch.
Exactly. Well, dude, and we got you on the rare occurrence that you're drinking coffee.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a new one.
Yeah, too many 4 a.m. mornings back to back that wanted to sharpen up a bit before the pod. But
other than that, man, you said you're shuttling some colts. So we went up obviously to your ranch or to the ranch that you work on.
Yeah.
Got a little bit of a full story into Reece a few months ago and little teaser, but we're going to be working on a film that's going to be coming out pretty soon here that we're really excited about. As you walked through the office, you saw a bunch of kind of the photos that we were too eager. We already had to get them up on the wall. But it was really cool, man. Like, especially like on the horse side of things, like, to experience your mindset, in regards to that, like classically, right? And I remember the one thing that really stood out is you always talked about the difference between breaking horses and starting horses. And obviously that's something that you've like really jumped on into kind of full bore, especially in your off season. Tell me a little bit more about that process. And then also kind of what you're doing recently here. So you're bringing horses back to Alberta so that you can go and ski and hunt.
yeah, so like there's kind of two ways when it comes to getting horses rideable. There's breaking them, and then there's kind of starting them. At least that's kind of the way that I like to kind of compare it, and both of them work for sure. But like for me, like breaking horses or bucking them out, whatever. One, it's just dangerous. Get
Yeah.
bucked off, you get banged up and stuff like that, and that's just not something that's going to work for me if I want to physically be able to do ski seasons and then also be involved with horses and stuff like that. Is kind of if I'm going to do it that way, I'm going to have to just commit to the horse thing and get banged up doing it and then just deal with that. But like the biggest thing, even more so than that, is when you break a horse, you're kind of taking something from him that he's not giving you.
Yeah.
And the difference when you start a horse, it's you prepare them for the ride to the point where they're accepting of what you're doing.
Yeah.
Instead of just strapping a saddle on them and you look in their eyes and they're losing their mind, and then you get on and basically you're in a fight with them.
Yeah.
And you basically you end up doing you end up taking something from the horse that he won't ever have back. And it's traumatic for him, and it's worked for years. And now I'm also the guy that understands that there's no point in having domestic horses if you can't ride them. That's their purpose. And so their horses are not good pets. They're not dogs. They have a purpose, and so if they can't fulfill that purpose, then they have no purpose, right? So they you need to be able to ride them, but I think starting them is the way to go. I feel better about it, and then also at the end of the day, it actually creates more of a willing partner, I think, versus just having something that you can ride.
Yeah.
Right. When you get really serious about the guys that are working the outfits or people that are competing and stuff like that, you're not doing everything. You're working together with the horse. They have their responsibilities and you have yours. And And when you kind of start them, you kind of enter more of an agreement with them
Hmm.
where there's a little more give and take. And if they it's a lot different when they allow you to be up there versus when you force yourself to
Yeah.
be up there, right? And so that's kind of what I've seen. And that's kind of the difference between those two things. And basically, yeah, I had those colts there that I was working out at the ranch over the summer, and
Yeah.
um, kind of the beginning, like they showed up totally feral,
Hmm.
right? Like they weren't halter broke. They
Yeah.
were ran into the trailer in a chute like you would cows,
Yeah.
and then basically I went and brought them to the ranch, kicked them out, and I had wild horses that I had to deal with for the
Yeah.
most part, right? So, ran them into the corrals, got them in the round pen, roped them, you know, tried to kind of gain their trust, got hands on them, got them to where they were halter broke and would let me halter them and stuff like that. And and I just kind of kept trying to do that and stuff like that. But like one of the horses there, he was an Appaloosa, really, really afraid of people.
Hmm.
It took me 10 sessions to get a halter around his face.
Yeah.
And then, but the funny thing is, it took like 10 sessions to do that, and it took like 6 sessions to get him saddled and rode.
Hmm. Yeah.
And so once you kind of pass
You
that,
build that
you
trust.
build that trust, and then everything else comes quick.
Yeah.
And it's funny too. So I brought him out to Alberta because I've got a friend out there who's really handy at training horses and
Hmm.
starting horses. He's got 15 years of experience doing it, and doesn't do it full time now, just kind of does it personally.
Yeah.
But yeah, really, really good guy. And the goal for him is to start him without bucking,
Hmm.
and he is very good at doing that. And so we went out there and got the first rides on first ride on the Appaloosa there. He was good to go. I put 3 rides on him. And then I had a blue roan too that we were working on, and he had been bucked out and broke, I guess
Hmm.
you could say, or somebody, that's how they tried to get him rode. And so I was working with that and kind of rebuilding his confidence and putting some good rides on him, and just kind of, yeah, just trying to set them up for success, really.
Yeah.
And then I had this younger black horse there, and he liked to buck a little bit more with the saddle, so he had a few more sessions of just with the saddle and calming to it and stuff like that, and starting to realize that it's not coming off his back. And
Hmm.
then to where we're in a comfortable enough position that I got on his back and I was sitting there and stuff like that. We probably could have moved him around, but it was the last session before I was going to bring him back to the owners. So, and they're just going to sit probably all winter. So, and for me, it just wasn't really worth the risk to push it.
Yeah.
And
No.
he had already done a lot of good stuff, and it's always good to end on a win,
Hmm.
and especially with these horses that are a little more on the feral side,
Yeah.
I find like it's easy to try to take too much
Hmm.
versus a horse that's grown up with people
Yeah.
contact and stuff like that. You can ask a little more from those ones, but the ones that are a little more on the wild side, if they put to a step in the right direction, don't ask for another one.
Yeah.
Kind of
Exactly.
take that step as it is, and
Take it as a victory for the
take
day.
it as a victory for the day, and move on. So, yeah, and that's been sweet. And then basically, I went and brought them back to the owners, and now I'm kind of just focused on ski season and stuff and getting prepared for that.
Yeah, exactly, man. That's a whole nother can of worms that I'm excited to get into as well. But back to the horse thing, like it really is cool, man. Like the amount of patience, I would say, that it feels like you have. Like obviously we were out there in the ring with you, and it was cool, man. It was like just a lot of, hey, we're letting the horse do its thing, but I'm just building the trust with him. Maybe he's gonna let me touch him and 35 minutes. But until then, I'm just kind of going to like wait, let him feel my presence, do all of this different stuff, and kind of go into that. And honestly, man, it was a whole new experience for me. Like I grew up with horses. I had a horse and all this different stuff growing up, but it was a completely different world.
Mm.
And like seeing that world that you're in, man, it was really cool to experience that. And thank you as well, just for opening that up for us, and especially opening up a camera into that as well. I know it's asking a lot, so we were really grateful. I know that your ultimate goal with the horses, and in chatting with you previously, is that you do want to hunt with them.
Mhm.
What does it look like, first and foremost, preparing these horses, obviously with kind of more of that starter mentality, building that trust? How does that translate to hopefully being way in the back country, packed full of gear, and hopefully packing out an elk or something?
Yeah, so, um, there's a lot of things that you can do before you get out in the backcountry, but, like, at the end of the day, um, the realistic part of it is that first day is gonna kinda suck,
Yeah.
right? The first day, if they're not really figuring out what the rhythm is and stuff like that, you've just trailered them probably hours to the
Yeah.
location, right? And then you saddle them up and start bringing them down the trail. First day is always a tricky one, um, but it's amazing how good they get after that when they
Mhm.
get in the routine of, in the morning they get saddled up, they get rode, and then you're doing 30 kilometers, 20 kilometers every single day trying to get back into the
Mhm.
backcountry. It's it makes a huge difference, and then it starts to get a lot easier, a lot more routine. But like a few things that I'm doing now, like first thing you can do is like teaching them how to hobble.
Yeah.
So roping a front foot, lead it, and teaching them how to lead off of pressure on their front foot.
Mhm.
So basically, when it gets pulled, instead of them freaking out and going backwards,
Yeah.
they give to that pressure. And that's also something you want to do with colts in general, just because, if they ever get caught on like a fence and they feel that pressure, if they just keep pulling back, they're going to, basically tear their foot off or cut themselves really bad. And we
Yeah.
actually had a colt that happened to this year, and it happens
Yeah.
to horses. That's just part of it. Horses hurt themselves, and it's just part of the deal. But that's kind of some things you can do to set them up for success. So like basically, you're teaching them when they get in a bind
Mm.
to sit there
Yeah.
and not move.
Yeah.
And like real good horses, like people will have them and they'll be like looking out there in the morning and they're like, that horse, didn't come in to feed or something.
Yeah.
And then they walk out there and they're like, sure, he's tangled up in
Yeah.
wire or whatever, but he has the foundation to know to just like, oh, I'm hung up, just gonna sit here and not move.
Yeah.
And then you come in, fix the problem, and he's good to go instead of
Mm.
just trying to fight it
Yeah.
because it'll
Exactly.
just end up hurting him. And so that's like a first step when it comes to hobbling horses. And that's
Mm.
kind of one way you can have a little more control of them with grazing and stuff.
Yeah.
The other thing that I do with my horses, they all respect hotline
Okay.
and electric fence.
Yeah.
So easy thing to you can do. And like they respect it to the point that you could go up there without an actual electric fencer and
Yeah.
just put up the line.
Yeah.
And as long as so the trick with electric fence is you have to kind of like play to the terrain features. So like
Mhm.
put the fence on like natural boundaries that the horses aren't going to want to go.
Yeah.
Don't put it right where, the easiest way to get down a little
Yeah.
hill is. They're going to go through it, or like middle of a creek. When horses go into a creek, they usually
Yeah.
commit and they go the whole way.
Yeah.
And so
Setting them up for success.
yeah, and so like so you can go out and also like if there's no feed
Mhm.
in the pasture that the electric fence is, they're going to want to push on the fence because they're trying to eat over there. And so um it's easy to contain them if you think about that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
and they don't mind being in there because that's where they kind of want to be.
Yeah. Exactly.
And so that's one thing you could do is like put up a quick poly wire
Mm.
kind of deal, and that can be for grazing and controlling. And then also obviously if you're gonna run like a sawbuck pack style
Yeah.
saddle, putting those on them first,
Mm.
um, teaching them to experience, having those boxes and stuff like that bouncing around.
Yeah.
And, you can put rocks in there or stuff that makes noise and whatever. And then the other thing that we kind of do is like when we go out and ride them in the trees and stuff,
Mhm.
we'll be riding down the trail, and they'll sometimes they try to do it, and sometimes they just do it because they just don't know.
Yeah.
They'll kind of like swipe you on trees.
Okay.
And so when I'm walking with colts, you almost have like my hands out. And
Mm.
whenever I come close to a tree, I push off of it,
Yeah.
and then I push off it. So I push them off
Mm.
balance.
Yeah.
So they start to realize if I come too close to the tree, I'm going to get pushed off
Yeah.
balance. And so they start to give space to trees. And
Exactly.
right. And so because horses are pretty tough on equipment when it comes
Mm.
to pack boxes and lots of time when they hit trees, they just keep going and
Yeah.
bang, bang, bang. And so that's kind of a lot of stuff you can do. And then also, like, if you're going to run britchin straps, which go around their back end below their tail,
Yeah.
you got to introduce that to them, because that's a weird feeling for horses that haven't
Mhm.
experienced that before. And like one of the things you do that is called rim firing.
Okay.
It's basically you take a rope and you have a horse saddle and you
Yeah.
put the rope over the back channel of the saddle
Mhm.
and then over basically the back of his legs and
Oh, yeah.
underneath his tail.
Okay.
And then you move him out and he feels that rope against his legs.
Yeah.
And he'll probably buck and kind of scoot at first.
Yeah.
But once he starts to, get used to it, you can you go and you put pressure on the loop so it pushes up against his legs.
Okay.
And then he's going to react to it. And then once he settles to the reaction, you release that pressure
Mm.
and show that, like, basically a flight reaction isn't going to bring this away.
Yeah.
It's a calming reaction. Then you just teach them that it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
Right? Like they're not hurt, they're fine.
Exactly.
And just like, and that sets them up for success, whether, there's a rope that comes untied on the panniers and starts dragging, between its legs, and it's not gonna, turn this thing to do a huge fit. But
Mhm.
at the end of the day too, like, wrecks happen when it comes to
Yeah.
horses, and
Yeah.
it's part of the deal. But those are some things you can do to get them out there. Then that just getting through that first day is massive.
Oh. Dude, I love it, man. It's such a whole new. It's such a. I'm so curious by that whole world, and
Yeah.
I absolutely love it, man. So, what is the time? And this is probably the worst question to ask, especially to a horse trainer, and especially the way that you guys do it too, where it's like so based on patience and all this
Yeah.
different stuff. But what would you expect the average timeline to be from, hey, you're taking pretty much a wild horse, like for the most part.
Yeah.
Obviously, they're not technically, but for the most part, a wild horse. And then how long do you think that timeline would be on average to take him from wild to rideable, and then from rideable to hunt ready? What does that kind of look like?
So, kind of for me, what I have started to learn and see is the most important part is consistency, right?
Yeah.
And so, um, like if you want to try and train a horse, plan a vacation, and that 2-week vacation is you training that horse.
Yeah.
You can't have things that are pulling you away. It needs to be consistent. And when I mean consistent, I mean 5 to 6 days a week.
Yeah.
And so and 6 days would be ideal. So like Monday to Saturday with a Sunday off.
Yeah.
Um, and that's the way to do it for sure. Then also like facilities help a lot too.
Hmm.
But like the consistency is huge.
Yeah.
Having those days off, it just makes it tough to keep building really well. Cause like I found that day 3 is like the special
Okay.
for sure. Like
Yeah.
day 1, they're okay. Day 2, they're okay. Day 3, that's when you start to see improvement. Usually on day 4 or 5, they sometimes, get a little bit something, or usually on day like 5, they kind of get a little bit more
Squirrely or a little
bit
retired.
more reactive because they're tired.
Yeah.
They're starting to get a little bit sore,
Yeah.
from all that stuff. But you just kind of work through that, and then they start to kind of give in, and they start to realize that this is the routine. Like this is normal, right?
Yeah. It's my job. It's my 9 to 5.
This is my job.
Yeah.
Right? And so
I'll graze after this, but right now it's my 9 to 5. We're getting to work.
Yeah, and and also part of it is like, they have 24 hours in the day, right? And you take, 3 to 4 of those, and I'm not saying you're training horses for 3 hours, but let's say like ideally you want to spend some time with those horses tied up.
Yeah.
And so basically you go and you tie them up all in the morning. So they sit there, and it really helps calm them down. And like at first they're not going to be calm, and they have to learn to basically, you can paw all you want, but it's not going to, you're just going to get tired. You're going to get sick of it. And they just end up calming.
Yeah.
So you tie them up, and then, or you go up in like the morning, the routine, you go out and you feed.
Yeah.
Unless they're on grass, but usually you go out and feed, give them like an hour, you go back, have breakfast, go in, catch them all, tie them up. and then you start with your first horse. And I was kind of always starting with the first one, just for like rhythm, routine. It always helps.
Yeah.
And then you do that one, get that one done. And usually the sessions are between a half hour to an hour.
Yeah.
If they need a little bit more, or if they're struggling with something, and if they end up making their life harder, then it's an hour.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. And so you do that. If they do really well, sometimes I'll just kick them back out. Otherwise, I'll go and tie them back in.
Hmm.
Because there's a part of it too, is like when every day everybody's working.
Yeah.
And if you're not working, you're sitting there tied up, ready to work.
Yeah.
Kind of deal, right?
Yeah.
There's, and that kind of shows them that there's purpose, and there's
Mhm.
accountability and stuff like that. And that seems to kind of work really well from what I've heard, and a lot of my mentors have kind of talked about that
Yeah.
as well. And that's where I've seen a lot of success. Like, there's a lot of guys that even if their horses are out on pasture
Mhm.
all day or all night, and they're going to go and ride some
Yeah.
of their horses in the morning, everything comes in
Hmm.
to a round pen.
Yeah.
It's fed. The round pen stays closed all day, and they pull the 2 horses out that go to ride.
Yeah.
All the other horses stay in the round pen. They don't get to go back out to the pasture because the other 2 are working, right?
Yeah,
So
exactly.
you're either in the pen or you're working.
Yeah.
And that kind of makes them where, like, well, I can either be in this pen or I can be out there, exploring, riding. And
Yeah.
usually the point is to make it so that they enjoy it, right?
Mm.
And so that's part of it. But yeah, like, I'd say if you do that consistently, like, you're gonna probably, for like 90% of the horses, you're gonna get you're gonna get the first ride in the first 2 to 3 weeks.
Okay. Yeah.
And some of them will be
That's a
sooner.
lot quicker than I thought it was gonna be. I
Yeah.
thought you were gonna say like 6 months to a year, then you can finally get them on, and then kind of go from there. Maybe they'll buck you off the first time, then you got to figure it out a couple more times after that.
Yeah,
But
like, you can
2 to
stretch
3
that
weeks,
out
that's like
too.
impressive. But that's
Like,
also 6 days a week of work.
yeah, that's the big thing. It's
Yeah.
the consistency. So, like, that first week, even on like a pretty wild one, and like some guys are quicker. Like, some guys are usually putting rides on the third day.
Yeah.
But typically, from what I've experienced, typically those horses are tamed.
Yeah.
So they're just doing the training aspect, right?
Yeah.
And then also, it also depends too, like, if these horses have bad experiences in the past, you have to kind of cover up and regain some trust with.
Hmm.
That's an aspect too. But like, most horses, you should be able to get that first ride in the first 2 weeks.
That's wild.
Yeah.
That's wild. Yeah.
And especially it depends on how good you are and what your facilities are like. But in a good area, and you're doing the right stuff, there's no reason you shouldn't be putting the first ride between that second and third week.
Hmm.
Like, and that's probably like on the later side.
Yeah.
And like I said, it kind of depends, but that's a pretty good generic in my
Yeah.
opinion. And like I said, like, sometimes I know people who the horses show up and they're tame and they're doing good, and they go and do walk, trot, lope on day 2.
Yeah.
Or day 3.
Wow.
And it's no problem.
Yeah.
Right? But if you're coming in from, horses that are kind of treated like cattle most of their life,
Yeah.
you're going to have to probably rebuild some stuff and things like that. And then, some of them, they just like to buck a little bit more,
Yeah.
buck with the saddle, and they're just not like comfortable with it. And then they have to kind of like give in to that, like this is kind of part of the deal now.
Yeah.
And so it takes a little while longer. Then basically, so you get that first ride in, and then you just kind of continue on. So, like, typically when like, if you had a horse and you were sent it to a trainer,
Yeah.
typically what they're going to do is they'll do like a 60-day
Yeah.
training plan. And at the end of the 60 days, most horses will be pretty much like, they're going to be broke. They're going to be a little on the green side still, but like pretty darn broke.
Yeah.
They've been ridden out in the round pen, arenas, trail riding, stuff like that. Like, they're good to ride. 90 days would be like the next level. And then also the thing is too, like, when that horse comes back, you got to keep riding them.
Yeah, exactly.
And, right. It's something you got to keep riding and stuff like that. And if you don't, you're going to have to warm them back up. And
Yeah.
if you just start hopping on a horse after not being used, you're be ready for a little buck, right?
Yeah, exactly. Get
Because
ready
they're
for a ride.
well, because think about if you only wear your hunting backpack during hunting season,
Yeah.
how's that first day gonna feel, right?
Yeah.
And like you're putting 80 pounds on them,
Yeah,
right? So
exactly.
you're gonna be sore and you're gonna
It's a
be bummed out
great
about it,
point.
right? So if you don't do that all the time and stay consistent, keep the calluses up, you're gonna get
Yeah.
banged up. And also like it's pretty easy to sore up colts and
Yeah.
young horses. Like with the front cinch there, they have to kind of build a little bit of tolerance in their skin.
Hmm.
Like if you go and have a horse that hasn't been ridden much or at all, and you go and start putting 4-hour rides on
Yeah.
him, like you're basically gonna lame that thing up. He's gonna get stone sore if he doesn't
Yeah.
have shoes on him, and then he's gonna get really bad sores underneath his front armpits,
Yeah.
and you know and it's just creating bad experiences for the horse. Then, like you go and strap a saddle on after he's healed back up, and or if he's not healed back up,
Yeah.
and then he bucks, and you're like, "Oh, why he bucked?" Well, he's hurting, right? So, um, there is a lot to it, and also there's horses that are easier,
Yeah.
there's horses that are not as easy to ride and stuff like that, and they all have personalities,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. And it's playing with those personalities. So kind of 2 to 3 weeks on average in regards to getting it saddle ready, everything like that. What does it look like? And is there any additional preparation that gets a horse ready for hunting? Obviously, there's like the additional gear, all these different things that kind of like I guess you have to build that relationship up with the horse where he's used to it and gets ready for it and all those different things as well. But is there anything in addition, and how much longer does it take for you to be like, hey, you know what? Okay, I this horse is riding good. We're doing the whole thing. He's trusting me. We have that relationship built. We've laid the foundation. We've laid the groundwork. Now, like, let's go take this thing elk hunting. Like, what
So
does that look like?
obviously, first and foremost, you got to be able to
Yeah.
trailer the thing, right? And if there's no bad experiences, that is a lot easier.
Hmm.
Um, and if you're good, like some people are really good at trailering horses, and some people aren't.
Yeah.
Um, I wouldn't say it's overly hard if you are taught well and have the right mindset, and you're patient enough and calm.
Yeah.
You can get them in there pretty easy. Like I was putting some pretty darn rank horses in horse trailers this year, and
Yeah.
and not getting too banged up.
Yeah.
But you can't expect to fight a horse into a trailer.
Yeah.
They're too big. It's not going to work.
Yeah.
You got to let them. They're going in on their own
Yeah.
with a little bit of coaxing from you. You're not forcing them in,
Hmm.
or you can outsmart them a few ways. Like you can put a longer lead rope on
Yeah.
them and like go in the trailer around one of the
Yeah.
the windows, and then kind of like work them in.
Yeah. Exactly.
He's in, but um, ideally you just can bring them in,
Yeah.
have them trust you. Bring them in a little ways, and just teach them that this is an okay place
Exactly.
to be. And the other thing is you can't drive like an idiot.
Yeah. Yeah.
You gotta like if the best thing you can do if you're gonna haul horses, put yourself in a horse trailer,
Yeah.
get somebody to drive the truck with you in the back,
Yeah.
and feel what it's like,
Yeah.
right? And so you want to make that place as
Hmm.
you know manageable as possible.
Yeah.
For them.
Exactly.
You don't want to be banging them around and always hitting stop signs super hard and ramming them to the front
Yeah.
of the trailer. It's just going to create bad experiences. So
Yeah.
trailering,
Trailering's number one.
you got to be able to hard tie them.
Yeah.
And that's part of the training process. Like I was saying, tying them up in the mornings, tying them
Mhm.
up after, so that gives them opportunity to calm, it gives them opportunity to think about what you did in the training process too.
Yeah.
And just teaching them that this is an okay place to be,
Mhm.
and stuff like that. And like horses that pull back on hard tying is a constant issue that a lot of
Mm.
people have. And so there's things to kind of work through that and introduce them, right? But the biggest thing is like keeping them tied up for a while. Like
Yeah.
like I'm when I mean a while, like couple hours and stuff like that. Like they need to spend some time there.
Yeah.
Because when you go out and ride, like if you ride into a zone, you're tying those horses up to a tree, and they might be there all day.
Yeah.
Or if you get an elk, they might be there all night, right?
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
so that's part of it too. And then also you got to put shoes on your horse. So you
Yeah.
gotta, get them used to picking up their feet and trims, and then you
Yeah.
gotta get used to the, vibrations of a hammer and stuff like that, and that's on the front and the rear, and it's, like, when I first was like, "Oh, I don't know how the heck you're gonna be able to teach a horse to grab its rear legs," right?
Yeah.
But, if you do the right foundation and stuff and you build that trust, so, they trust you and, there's risks, obviously, you're
Yeah.
gonna get kicked.
Yeah.
At some point, you're gonna get kicked.
Yeah.
It's not the end of the world. It's gonna hurt, and if you do the right things and put yourself in the safe positions
Yeah.
and are aware, you should be okay.
Yeah.
But,
Exactly.
it's that's a big part of it too because, like, you can go back in there barefoot sometimes, but, if you stone sore a horse, you're gonna have some issues, and,
Hmm.
obviously, some horses are tougher than others, like, at the ranch where I help out at, we got some Spanish Mustangs.
Mm.
Those things got really tough feet.
Yeah.
Um, you can go and do backcountry trips with those horses without shoes for
Without
sure.
shoes and
That being said, like, packing, yes.
yeah.
Me riding them, no.
Yeah.
They need shoes.
Yeah.
But, yeah, like, if you manage that, you can do that, but for the most part, you're gonna want heel and toe shoes, which
Yeah.
basically is like a cleat,
Yeah. Exactly.
and so that's kind of the big 3 is, like, gotta be able to trailer them, gotta be able to tie them, and you gotta be able to put shoes on them.
Yeah.
And then also the smart thing too is having your own ability to do a little bit of to be able to put a shoe back on
Yeah.
too.
Exactly. Oh, I love it, man. Well, you got any horseback hunts planned this year? Or what are you thinking?
Well, there's an opening there October 7th to kind of like first week of November. So hopefully I can line something up with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, pretty like not locking anything down just yet. But yeah, we'll see. Definitely might rip off into the mountains with some ponies and see what we can do. But um, I would like to for sure. I have all the gear and just need to go out and do it.
Yeah. Just make it happen.
Yeah.
Well, I guess Olympics kind of throw a wrench in as we kind of discussed last time too.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
yeah, big time. Oh, I love it, man. Well, dude, archery hunting. I know that this is something that we've chatted with a little bit. Um, yeah, you're kind of up and down, or tell me a little bit about your relationship with shooting the bow. And is that like a priority for you as well? Is that something you're like, hey, do you have that archery itch? Or is it something that you're like, hey, you know what? Yeah, if the opportunity is, if there are all these different things, we'll kind of pull it together. But I know even walking in here, you're talking about trying to fling some arrows. So that always gets me puckered up. So tell me a little bit more.
Yeah, well, I've been shooting a bow for a long time.
Yeah.
Always had a big enough backyard where we had bow targets and stuff like that, and I've had a pretty decent rig for like about 5 years now,
Yeah. Sweet.
and do a lot of target shooting and whatnot. Haven't had any like big game success yet,
Yeah.
but it was actually funny a couple years back. Like I shoot my bow a lot. Like I shoot out to 100 yards and
Yeah.
pretty comfortable and stuff, and my brother, he kinda had, like, an opening where he was gonna go out and do some scouting in bow season, so
Yeah.
September 1st to the
Yeah.
10th for us, and, so he came out and was shooting the bow a bit, and for the way his hold points are, um, my 30-yard pin is his 20,
Wow. Yeah.
right? And it just worked out,
Yeah.
and so he was shooting and shooting, and so he was pretty comfortable around that, 20 to 30 to 40-yard
Using
mark
your bow. Yeah.
using my bow.
Yeah.
And so he goes out and he's doing a hunt. And he actually got himself a really nice 4-point like muley in in velvet over in the coots there. And I'm like, you sucker, you got
Not even his bow,
Not
a
even his-
beautiful freaking muley in
Yeah.
velvet. I love it.
yeah, and just totally rolled it too. Like he pinned it pretty good, and then he just basically just like fell down.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, whatever. I was stoked for him, but I'm like, yeah, I was hoping to get something first.
Yeah,
But
exactly. You have to break that thing in, man.
Yeah. but like I love like archery and shooting is
Yeah.
fun. That being said, like I don't hunt with a bow and rifles.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I have a pretty big opening here in this first start of bow season
Yeah.
this year, being camps stopping between September 1st and the 15th. So
Yeah.
I got some buddies that I might go and chase elk with the bow. So
Nice.
kind of been putting it off, but I'm going to start shooting probably this week and make sure we're good to go. But like I've got a I got a pretty good foundation. Like I've shot a lot of arrows in the past with this bow, and so usually you go in and do that first day,
Yeah.
and it's pretty darn good, and then I'll keep shooting a bit. But no, I like it a lot, and I shoot a big bow. Like I shoot an 80 pounder, and
Yeah.
don't really mess around with that, and so
Yeah.
it should be it should be cool, and try and see if we can get some elk up close. But
Yeah. That'd be great, man.
no, like it's definitely not like a priority to put stuff down with a bow, and
Yeah.
I'm definitely more of a 30 cal kind of guy.
Yeah. No, I hear ya. I hear ya. It's a slippery slope, man. I feel like it's the archery stuff similar to the way that you guys were chatting on the last podcast in regards to sheep hunting,
Mhm.
where it's like, man, you start like getting that, you start doing that archery bug, you start playing around with it a little bit, and all of a sudden it's just taking over all of your thoughts.
Yeah.
And then you're like, well, man, honestly, I can't remember the last time I've walked in the woods with a rifle. And I'm like, not saying that we've been super successful or anything. Like we've obviously gotten a few things down, but like it's just addictive, man. It's like you constantly are starting to think about it and you're like looking at both of these things sitting in front of you and going like, okay, hey, am I taking the rifle out? Am I taking, obviously they both have their place. But you get that bug, man. So it'll be interesting, especially like, hey, if you're heading out elk hunting and stuff with it, if you kind of make that trip happen I'm excited to talk with you after and be like, so that mule deer hunt you got in a couple weeks. So you taking the bow out for a walk, or what are you thinking here?
Yeah, I know. I'm pretty serious about putting meat on the table. So
Yeah,
if it's up close and it's rifle season, I like to hammer it. But I also like I'm pretty into the long range stuff,
yeah, it's true.
and
That's
like
true.
all like
That might have a similar itch too, right?
oh for
Yeah,
sure, yeah, like all my rifles I've shot out past 1,000 yards, and not that I'm gonna hunt shoot that far on an animal, but I tell you what, you shoot 1,000 yards a bunch, 400 yards is like
yeah,
you can touch that
yeah,
easy.
exactly.
And so it's pretty nice to have that. And then, when you do get that sub 500 yard off opportunity, it's there's not much question to it. It's a done
Yeah,
deal if you can get comfortable. And that's also, on bigger game too.
yeah,
I'm, shooting shoot an elk and shooting a whitetail deer is a whole different story when it comes to,
yeah,
vital size and stuff
yeah.
like that. So um
But I think it all has to do with confidence, man. I feel like this is such a hot topic within the hunting world of like, what's your max range? What's all of this stuff? And I always go like, hey, honestly, I think it's whatever you're personally comfortable with in that situation. And the thing is too, is like, hey, if you're practicing a lot, like if you are shooting a lot at 1,000 yards, um, consistently practicing that 1,000 yard shot, and then hey, now there's this 500 yard buck or whatever. You have a perfect rest, winds dialed, all those variables are feeling really good. And you're like, hey, well, I practice at 1,000 all the freaking time. Like you're gonna feel really confident taking that shot. I feel the same thing with an arrow. Like I shot a blacktail last year at 60 yards,
mm,
which a lot of people in the archery world would be like, oh, blacktail's a really small animal. Like, what are you doing trying to take that thing at 60 yards? But all of my variables were perfect. And I shoot 100 yards practicing all the time.
yeah,
And I shoot every single day. When I shoot my bow, I'm always like 70 yards dry right away, making sure that you're always hitting that. And I practice it and I feel really confident with
yeah,
it. But that being said, there's always variables, right? On that 60-yard shot, it was wide open, no wind, nothing. And I placed a perfect arrow. And I was very thankful for it and felt 100% confident taking it. And I think within that topic too, right? It's like, hey, first and foremost, are you practicing? And second of all, what are the variables that are kind of playing with it? Because I think a lot of people get fixated on this number, like, oh, I can shoot up to 600 yards
mhm,
or something like that with the rifle. And then they get into that situation and the variables aren't there, but they're like, I shoot 600 yards. That's my max range. It's 570. I'm going to go and shoot it. But it's like, no, do you feel comfortable in that situation? All that stuff. So I know it's a hot topic,
oh for
but,
sure.
and maybe I'm a little too opinionated on that one, but I'm like, hey, like, I think whatever you're feeling confident in the situation is like the most ethical shot for you.
Yeah,
And I think that's always the goal is like, how can we place the most ethical shot? And ultimately, my opinion is the most ethical shot is wherever you're the most confident taking that shot.
for
So
sure. Yeah, like if I'm laying down prone, comfortable on my bag,
yeah,
you know, I'm more comfortable taking on like a comfortable prone shot at like 400 yards
Yeah.
than I am taking an 80-yard shot offhand,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Like there's a lot of variables that can mess up that shot.
Yeah.
And versus, if you're comfortable, you got your rear bag in there and stuff like that, and you're just locked in, make the adjustment,
Yeah.
boom, smoke them at 400, and you're ready for a follow-up shot. Versus, oh, he's taking a step, moving offhand, you've got the scope, it's around him,
Shaking.
and then get up, boom, and try and get that dialed in. And there's some guys that are, crack shots offhand for
Yeah.
sure. My dad is one of them.
Yeah.
I've seen him drop 2 elk back to back
Wow.
at 200 yards
Yeah.
offhand.
Yeah.
Boom, boom.
Wild.
Yeah, meat in the freezer, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But and that's just kind of the way it is, and that's where he's confident doing that. Versus, if you went and laid him down at 600, he probably could pull it off, but that's not something he
Yeah.
does a whole lot, right? And so, yeah, no, the confidence thing is huge too, and that's a great example of like, yeah, I'm comfortable shooting 600 yards for sure, but are you comfortable shooting 600 yards on a angled slope
Yeah.
like that? And you got like a nasty rock stuffed into your hip, but you still got your bipod, and you're trying to get sucked in, and you're like, well, he's within 6, and I got my bipod on the ground, so it should be fine. And even this year, like I was up above a really nice bear, and it was about 300, and I'm like in this rocky crag, and ran up there with like not much gear because literally got a call from my brother at the house like, hey, my 35 jammed, you got to get out here. I showed up in like running shoes, shorts, and a t-shirt, and my bino harness and rifle. That's it. And I'm up in this rock, and I got my bino harness off. I took my t-shirt off to kind of like soften the rock on the
Yeah.
front of the rifle, and I'm kind of like trying to get comfortable, and it's just not working out. And like he was like 310 or something, and usually that's like a done deal shot in some circumstances, but this, it just wasn't. And then I picked a spot, and I'm like, okay, there, I'm pretty good. And he had just kind of went down into this little draw, and like, if he comes out there, he's done.
Yeah.
And he just didn't come out there, and went ripped down into the burn, and never saw him again. But yeah, it's all decisions. And then also you have to remember that, mistakes are going to happen. And there's no such thing as a done deal when it comes to, and things don't always die easily.
Yeah.
It's part of the deal.
Yeah.
And so you're going to do the best you can with what you have, and kind of go from there. But either way, you got to own the consequences, right?
It's true. And I think that's the thing too, right? It's like, hey, sometimes, honestly, you have to think of all the variables, and sometimes just better just not to take that shot.
Mm-hmm.
Like, hey, I know that you're on whatever, maybe you're a weekend hunter, and this is Sunday right before you're supposed to pack up, and finally that buck walks out. But hey, if it's not a shot that you're feeling ethical about and feeling proper, sometimes you just gotta let that buck pass and wait for the next weekend, right?
Yeah.
So it's all about setting up, but then also understanding the fact that, hey, things do happen.
Mm-hmm.
Things do change and all that stuff, but how can we best set ourselves up for success?
Yeah.
And I think you hit it on the nail at the beginning there, where you're like, hey, you got to practice. Got to practice those long bombs and do all of that. Do you almost feel like, and especially too, like I said, I haven't gotten much into like the long range shooting world, but I have felt like similar itches in regards to the archery world and loving shooting the bow, and I almost feel like there needs to be like this mastery kind of thing that like pulls me into that. Have you noticed that with yourself? Like, obviously, frick, man, you're an Olympian skier. Like, it's like there's obviously some mastery that you feel and some competitiveness that you're like, I want to be the best at my craft. I want to win that gold medal. I want everyone to like, yeah, pretty much, I want to do it, right? And I need to have that mastery thing. Do you find like that similar thing too with like the 1,000-yard shots and practicing and the long range shooting and being like, I need to hit that mastery side, even from not even chatting about hunting, but just from like the shooting part of it as well? Do you feel that? Or
yeah, no, for sure. Like, I think if you're the kind of person who likes to do things at a high level, that's just a place you go. Like, why do you shoot your bow past 40 yards?
Yeah.
Right.
To love it.
Yeah. And so and it's just, you just want to get to that next level kind of thing. And also, like, I think like the long range shooting and archery is very similar too. when I'm out there, doing long bombs at 100 yards with my bow, it feels very similar to when I do those big longer shots.
Yeah.
Then also I find too, it's funny, like I'm not sure if you've experienced this, but I'm sure you have, where you almost have an easier time being accurate at 50 yards than like 30
Yeah.
because you're trying to be too precise.
It's true.
Right. And
Yeah.
I find that's the same as long range shooting when
Hmm.
you're at 100 yards and you're trying to get that perfect,
Yeah.
group versus at like 7, and you're like, you can't really see the target that
Yeah.
well. Crosshairs are kind of big. So you get comfortable, you get on target and squeeze, boom.
Yeah.
Right. Instead of like trying to be so precise.
Yeah.
And so I find, yeah, like my 50-yard groups with the bow, because I'm just a little more nonchalant with my target
Yeah.
placement or like my pin placement. Like if I'm on there, I'm letting it float a little bit,
Yeah.
whack, versus like 30 yards. I'm trying to hold it like
Oh yeah.
right where I want the arrow to
Well,
go.
you're trying to freaking Robin Hood that thing.
Yeah. And
You're
so,
like, I'm at 30 yards, man. I'm trying to send this arrow right through the next one and doing that thing. And you're so tense. You're like, okay, I got to freaking do it. Okay, there's my window. And then maybe you jerk the trigger or do anything like that because you feel that pressure.
yeah,
But at 50, you're just like, hey, I'm just going to kind of let this thing buck and just see where it goes. And okay, it flies. And obviously you're picking your spot
yeah,
and you're trying to be as accurate as you can, but you're not like directly staring at that knock of that other arrow.
yes,
And you're like, okay, hey, like I'm obviously aiming for the spot that I'm aiming for, right? And like aiming for that dot, however big or small it may be. And but kind of like a little bit more relaxed with it. And
yeah,
then
for
because
sure.
of that, you're obviously a lot more lot more accurate.
Yeah, well, it's the same as like 80 yards or even 100. Like your pin size is like almost 24 inches.
Yeah.
It seems like at that distance, right? And even for me, I don't have a adjustable sight on my bow, so like when I shoot 100 yards, I usually shoot basically my level at the bottom, and
Yeah.
then I just kind of go up a little bit more, so I kind of like see the target, carry a little bit, and just release. And
Yeah.
I'm getting 100-yard groupings that are within 10 inches,
Yeah.
right?
Wow.
And so, and that's kind of for me, like I kind of look at when I do my target shooting with my bow, that's kind of like I try to almost convert it to like the MOA of like 100 yards. So
Yeah.
like if you can do a 10-inch group at 100,
Yeah.
you're looking pretty good. Same as like 60, if you can be within 6 inches, like that's what you want. 40, 4 inches,
Mm.
and 20, you can shoot a 2-inch group at 20 yards,
Yeah.
no problem. And so that's kind of what I like to think of like standard in terms of what I'm happy with seeing
Yeah.
for sure.
Exactly. Oh, I love it, man. Reece, it was interesting, man. It was cool getting to know your dad a little bit when we were up there hanging out with you guys.
Yeah.
And man, he's got some stories, eh? Oh my gosh. Is he kind of like the one that pushed you into hunting or not pushed, I should say, but maybe invited you along for the journey? And how has that kind of shaped you even into the missions that you guys are doing now? And I even know too, even through his work and stuff, you guys have access to jet boats and all this different stuff too. Has that kind of like helped in some of these sheep missions or different things that you guys are doing?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, dad introduced me and my brother Jesse into hunting, and um, because was always a part of our life. I think I took my first deer when I was 11, and
Hmm.
Jesse took his when he was 10,
Awesome.
and just kind of kept doing it. And dad was a sheep hunter and really got into that once he came out to BC. And
Hmm.
um,
Where from? Where was he originally?
well, he was kind of lived all over. So he was born in Powell River,
Okay, yeah.
and but my grandfather was a mining engineer,
Hmm.
and so traveled all around. And he actually built drag lines,
Okay.
which is those big, huge. They're actually electric powered steam shovels,
Hmm.
or like big shovels.
Yeah.
They're like the ones where you ever see the picture of like there's like 100 people standing
Yeah.
in the shovel.
Yeah.
That's a drag line.
That's wild.
And so so basically he went from there, and then they actually lived in Australia for a
Oh
few
wow.
years when he was younger.
Yeah.
Well, and then they went to Florida, and then they went up to Saskatchewan, and like they were working. Dad or grandpa was working in Estevan and stuff like
Okay,
that,
cool. Yeah.
building drag lines. So that was kind of where dad finished high school and stuff like that, and so he had like a trap line up there, and they were hunting
Sweet.
ducks and hunting deer and stuff
Yeah.
like that, and then came out to BC in kind of in his early 20s, and yeah, started to get into hunting in
Yeah.
the mountains and stuff like that, and started to hunt sheep out in Spencis and on the Fraser.
Yeah.
Got himself a Cali back when back when it was three-quarter curl,
Yeah.
and then kind of got the bug, and he used to do some solo trips up for stones and stuff
Mm,
like that,
cool.
and so he was always, he was a big mountain hunter and loved to hike and stuff like that,
Yeah.
and that's how my brother and I got introduced. And then we just kind of took what he showed us and just turned it up to 10
Mm,
for
cool.
the most
Yeah.
part. Like
You're like, hey, I'm gonna take that baseline and we're gonna build upon it.
yeah, like me and Jesse are pretty damn serious when it comes to hunting, and
Yeah.
Jesse in particular, he loves it. And
Mm.
when when he leaves the house in the morning, it's you have your wallet, phone, keys, and rifle,
Yeah.
even if he's just going to work. And so yeah, he's pretty serious about it, and so we do a lot of really cool trips and stuff like that. But yeah, like my grandfather, he grew up on my mom's side. He was a hunter as well,
Oh yeah.
and then my grandfather on my dad's side, he was like he did a lot of like bird hunting out in Saskatchewan and stuff like
Yeah.
that. And back in the day there, I think he did a safari there, and so we've got some
Cool.
cool stuff from that. And then, but
Awesome.
my grandfather,
Like old taxidermy and stuff? Or
yeah,
what?
yeah,
Oh,
a
that's
little
sweet,
bit,
man. Yeah.
some boar tusks and stuff.
So cool.
And but on my mom's side, my grandfather, he grew up in the Chilliwack
Yeah.
region, and when I think he was 12 years old, he had hounds, and they were out there,
Wow.
putting down cougars and stuff
Yeah.
to protect the homestead. And they actually had a homestead up in Cultus Lake,
Oh yeah.
and living up there. And yeah, so they had hounds and stuff like that, and he big bear hunter and hunted blacktails. And actually, before before they had regulations on it, he used to pull um goats out of the Chilliwack River
Yeah.
Valley.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, man. I
Unfortunately, I did it, like, we don't have any taxidermy
yeah.
or any, I don't even
Wow.
have pictures, but
I
yeah, we have
freaking love
stories.
going down the Chilliwack Valley, man, just staring at those things.
Yeah.
Just always imagining what it would like to be hunting them. That clearly people have back in the
Yeah,
day.
back in the
That's
day and
cool,
stuff.
man.
So
You got to try to find something from that.
I'll have to pressure my mom there and see if
Yeah.
there's anything kicking around. But yeah,
Like
no,
that's such a piece of Chilliwack history right
oh, for
there. Oh
sure.
my gosh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and like
Sorry to get you sidetracked, but now you got me on the
yeah. Well, he had like a monster mule or a blacktail too. He got a big buck out of there, and it actually was in UBC for a bit, and then somebody stole it. Actually,
Really?
unfortunately, so yeah, we don't have that one, and I don't even think we have a picture of it. But it was a big
Yeah.
big buck. It was
Yeah.
like a 7x8 or something. But yeah,
That's
no,
wild. That's wild.
and that's like that's hunting in like like rubber logger boots with
Yeah.
work boots kind of deal.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, I love it, man. So your dad or your grandpa kind of probably instilled that a little bit. Did you get a chance to hunt with him at all? Or was it
Um,
mostly with your dad?
yeah, like I never got a chance to hunt with my grandfather. He was a little bit he had my mom when he was quite a bit older. So
Mm,
but that being said, I when I did get my first deer, he did get to see it. He
really?
went and he was in an old folks home there, and we went and drove up and knocked on his window at like
Yeah.
9 p.m. because we had just got off the mountain. And he comes out with his walker and open up the door, and his face just lights up.
Oh
First thing
my
he does is
God.
go and puts his finger in the horse or in the deer's mouth, and looks at the teeth. He's like, "Oh yeah, this is a good healthy deer, awesome." And yeah, he was pretty stoked. So that was cool to be able to share that with him before he passed. But and
That's a
then
special memory, man.
yeah, and then on my dad's side, I never got to meet his dad. He
Mm,
passed kind of when dad was younger, unfortunately. But
yeah.
yeah, no, it was it's cool to have the hunting in the family for sure. And my mom hunts too. Like she's put a couple deer on the ground, and
Oh yeah. Dude, I love it, man. Do you ever get out with the family much, like with the dad and the mom? And obviously, I know you go out with a lot with your brother.
Yeah.
But like, do you guys make a point to do family trips or something or anything like that, or what does that kind of look like?
Yeah,
Or
like
where you guys are at though, too. I guess you could just pretty easily day hunt, isn't it?
yeah, we totally day hunt for
Yeah,
sure from the house when we're around, and then also in the past we've done like Thanksgiving, of
cool.
course,
Yeah,
going out and doing some hunts like that.
yeah.
And then like the first actually stone ram that dad ever got was with Jesse,
Really,
and so that was sweet.
that's
And then the
awesome.
next year, all three of us went, and then Jesse got his ram, and so we were able to do that. We've done stone hunts in the past,
Yeah.
I think I was 14 and Jesse was 12. We did our first backpack stone hunt,
Oh, really? Yeah.
and so that was really cool, and had the whole family there and stuff like that. But yeah, no, we get to hunt a lot together, and me and Jesse obviously chase bears a lot and stuff like that, and um, but yeah, no, it's still a pretty big family deal for us for sure.
Yeah. It was cool, man. It was cool being at your folks' place and yeah, the photo catalogs came out. And
Yeah.
we're looking at all of these little whether it be sheep or all this different stuff that yeah, your family's had a hand in harvesting, which is
Oh, for
really
sure.
cool, man. It was a lot of stories and I was telling you, I'm like, we got to get some of your family members on here,
Yeah.
man. You guys got a rich history of obviously hunting and even too here in the history of the Chilliwack Valley, which is obviously where Fargone's kind of based out of. And
Yeah.
yeah, I still can't believe your grandpa's getting goats up there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. No, that's pretty wild.
Oh, that's insane,
Back in the
man.
good old days.
Back in the good old days, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So sweet, man. Hey, well, it's going to be a good season. Obviously, we're missing Matt here today. He's going to be out guiding for the next couple months, but I'm excited for kind of the future of this. So got a couple more, just obviously you and I got a couple guests going to come on and yeah, any closing thoughts kind of on your end or
No, I'm pretty good. Like, yeah, no, it's been pretty rad, and starting to this is kind of helping getting me geared up for the hunting
yeah,
season for sure, and at least getting in the mindset. I've been kind of focused on the horse thing and working out and stuff like that, and this is starting to wake me up to, yeah, hunting season's coming
yeah.
quicker than I think. So better get out there and start shooting and get everything lined up.
It's coming, man. And frick, dude, if you get those horses out on the hunt, you best believe that I'm gonna be trying to weasel my way onto that trip in
Oh,
whatever way possible.
I'll let you know
So
for sure.
we'll be doing. I'll see you, Cameron. What do we need? Well, let's freaking make it happen.
Yeah,
So awesome, Reece. Hey, well, thanks for coming on in, man, and enjoy the rest of your time in Chilliwack.
perfect. Thank you very much.